Hi Pisces, this is Lee from Fresh Astrology. We are looking at April 2018. So, um, you have, let's just kind of review, you've got Jupiter in your ninth house, which it loves being in the ninth house. You have Neptune in your sign. You have Saturn and Pluto, and this month Mars in Capricorn in your 11th house, and I'll talk about what these house meanings are. You have Uranus at the tail end of your second house, just about to move into that third house area. So some big changes coming up for you professionally. Big changes. But they're not quite happening yet. And so this is what's happening for everybody in April, with a lot of planets in retrograde, Mercury being one of them in your area of jobs and work and career. There's this feeling that a lot of Pisces people are had that, in April, that their career is just not moving as forward. They're not getting the results as quickly as they would like, and it can feel frustrating during this particular month, because you have such big goals with Jupiter up there in the ninth house. You set your sights high, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just in April, there's some kind of larger universal wisdom to just slowing down. So it's still cooking, it's still in process, the momentum is there, but we may not see the results that we had dreamed of just quite yet. But then in mid-May, a lot of things start to unfold and change, and big surprises happen, big changes happen. And then it'll be like a task keeping up with all the change. So much will be changing. But April is this exercise in patience, forbearance, keeping your spirits up, keeping the faith, keeping your head down and just doing good work. Just keep working on things, reviewing, revising, and showing up to do the work. And then things really pop mid-May. It's just takes off like a rocket. It's kind of crazy. And so that's in the area of career. Big things are happening. And there are these themes of school, publishing, blogging, travel, all these themes playing through. And something really big happens for you in May and into June, and even through this year. And I mean, it goes on, but I mean, the whole rest of the year will have a very different character. Like after mid-May, the whole rest of the year has this very different character to the first part of the year up till mid-May. The first part of the year up till mid-May has felt, in many ways, like a lighter version of April. April's going to be more intensely this feeling of things just aren't happening at the pace or rate I would like them to happen. I need the change to be quicker. It's a feeling like it's kind of, like, where's the money? Show me the money. There's going to be some of that going on. It may not be about money, but it's going to be a little of that antsy. I just don't understand, I can't wait for all the goodness to happen, but it will happen. Just have faith that it will happen. And you start the month with Venus in the third house. So actually your ability to communicate is heightened with Venus here, and your ability to be on target with your message, even with Mercury retrograde, especially if you're willing to review and revise and change, willing to keep changing, and rolling with what does work and what doesn't work, and noticing the difference between the two. If you're flexible in that particular way, which Pisces is pretty flexible in that way. Venus in Taurus, which is nice placement for Venus in your third house, shows that, especially with respect to any coursework you're doing, you could be taking a course, you could be providing a course, you could be doing something online, is especially blessed. And this is where money could come in as a result of stuff you're doing there in this third house. So this can be online, anything online with your business, any kind of school where either you're in the teaching position, you're in the learning position, That is all very fortunate for you. It feels good. It's a fun time. That helps offset some of the antsy, nervous energy of things not quite happening yet. Not, the butterfly is not quite fully formed, not quite ready to come out of the cocoon. And then toward the end of the month, you have Venus going over the base point of the chart. That's a big moment in time. And moving into the fourth house. So a lot of you could be sprucing up your home. Maybe a guest comes in, a person from the past comes in. Some of you may be thinking of selling or buying or adding on or just making your home more beautiful. Money could come, like maybe you take in a roommate. Money could come from a home. So you could buy a place and then get a roommate. Or you just stay where you are and get a roommate. These are just possibilities. Or you just, people, like maybe you have people visiting you all month and into May, and it just feels nice to have, it's like a pleasant, nice kind of visiting experience where people come visit and you have fun. But again, and also because of the retrogrades and all that, it could be people floating in from your past too. And if so, it tends to feel good. What else? Another thing to keep in mind is you just have so much for you emotionally seems to be riding on your vision of how your future should or could unfold. A lot of you have really pinned your hopes on a certain kind of vision for your future that has pretty high expectations. You have a pretty big vision, but with the planets Saturn and Pluto there, sometimes the vision of your future that you want can be so big that it starts to make you scared. And you may start to feel like you can't, like you've set your sights too high. And I don't think you necessarily have. I think you just set such a big, like the bar has been raised pretty high, and you are seeing at times just how much it's going to take to get there. You get reality checks with Saturn in there. You get reality checks from time to time. And in April you may have another one where you realize just how far you have to go. And far doesn't necessarily mean in distance and time, but maybe some effort and just what it takes to achieve dreams and goals. So it takes, ask anybody who's achieved big dreams and goals. It takes some elbow grease and sometimes substantial time for it to work out that way that you get what you want. And, just that patience, that level of patience can be difficult for people, anybody. So just be on the lookout for veering off into hopelessness or veering off into self-doubt or veering off into self-criticism. Try not to let it turn into that. Try to catch that as it's happening. Remind yourself that's not going to help anybody. You don't deserve that. That's not going to help you do any better. Sometimes just taking a breather, not banging your head, so hard against a wall. Just backing off a little during a retrograde can be fruitful, actually. Sometimes we're more productive when we back off. Because things are unfolding, like Uranus, nothing's going to stop Uranus from going into Taurus. Nothing's going to stop Pluto and Saturn. That momentum's going. So anything you've been working on in the arena of building a future out for yourself, building a job situation, all that stuff, that momentum's flowing and going, and you can't stop it. So sometimes we're actually, it's like imagining that putting our hands on the planet Uranus and pushing is going to help Uranus do its job any better. That's ludicrous, right? We can't push Uranus to go faster. And but sometimes we think if we just keep trying really hard and we put so much effort in that it's bound to make the difference. Sometimes we're just straining too much. So just if you catch yourself doing that, just try to catch it, become aware of it, and release a little bit. Notice your breath or something. All right, take care, guys.